This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association.
Hi, I'm Huell, and this is tar in its natural and smelly state. And believe it or not, right now we are in the middle of Los Angeles. That's right, because you see, these are the La-Brea Tar Pits. And when you come here, it's like stepping back in time, because this whole area looks just about like it did over 40,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. Of course, there have been a few changes. Nowadays, the pits are surrounded by major museums, and right over there is busy Wilshire Boulevard. You know, Los Angeles is full of interesting places. We're going to be here the next couple of days looking for some of those places. And you're invited to come along on this little journey as we travel Los Angeles in search of California's gold.
We begin our LA adventure at Los Angeles International Airport, known affectionately as LAX. Now, not only is this the busiest airport in California, it's the third busiest airport in the world. We're talking 122,000 passengers a day. We came to LAX not to catch a plane, though, but to see something that's out of this world. It's impossible to ignore it. This wonderful 60s spaceship, space-age Sputnik building, called the Theme Building. And its strange shape not only catches your eye, but your imagination as well. Back in the late 50s and early 60s, LA decided to build itself a new airport. And right in the middle of this airport, they plopped down this strange thing and called it the Theme Building. In 1961, Vice President Lyndon Johnson came to town, dedicated the new airport, and the place was in business. Now, the entire airport was state-of-the-art, but from the very beginning, it was the Theme Building that got all the press. It seemed to sum up what Southern California was all about. It was new and innovative and fun, and broke some rules along the way. It was an airport theme building like none other in the world. To find out more about the building, I went over to the Department of Airports offices located in the control tower and met with Bill Schoenfeld, who was one of the original project architects for the design of LAX over 35 years ago. He pulled out the old architectural drawings for me to take a look at and shared some of the grand visions he and other architects had for the airport at the time.
Essentially, this is what you're looking at as an architectural rendering of the central theme building of an early scheme that was prepared for the voters as a bond issue to vote the issuance of general obligation bonds to pay for the airport. This is the central theme with a huge glass dome, and as can be seen in some of these other photographs, these are the old renderings, show the parking lot, the central theme building with satellite terminals that emanate from the center, radiate from the center, where the jet airplanes would be. This was surrounded by a garden area letting sunlight in through a huge glass dome.
So this original drawing, the original theme building, was to, everything was going to be in there. All the ticket counters, the restaurant.
All the ticket counters, restaurants, lounges, concessionaires, waiting areas, and on the top of this central column was the control tower, actually, was proposed for there. And you would look down on all of this from the restaurant. This building is so big that it would have had its own weather inside.
Really?
Probably would have rained.
When you started working on it, was it the kind of thing where you just let your imagination run wild almost?
We were cutting new ground. There's no question about that. And there was we had people on there that were enjoying it and had great ideas, and were able to put them on paper.
Yeah.
And
some rather wild ideas at the time, weren't they?
Well, you should have seen the ones we threw away.
Well, I don't know about the ones they threw away, but the one they finally ended up with has literally become a landmark, known not only in LA and California and the United States, but all over the world. How many pictures do you figure have been taken of this building over the years?
Hundreds of thousands, wouldn't you think? I bet millions. Everybody takes it, no matter where they are. And they'll get it from the roadway and it's, wait, I want to get that picture. And they do.
You mean they stop?
Well, they stop and they lean out, and then they'll be up on the parking structure, and they'll really, they'll try to get it from every angle. You'll be here today and you'll see.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing looking structure. It's huge, kind of atomic, kind of 50s looking thing. It's so beautiful.
Oh, it looks like a part of a space shuttle probe, or a thing to go out in space with and have lots of balance on the edge if it starts spinning.
What did you think when you first saw it?
What's that?
Now, so far, we've been looking at a lot of nice pictures of this building. But the lady's right. What is it? I mean, they call it the theme building, but what does that mean? What's it used for? Well, I went inside the lobby, and Loopy Burke, who's one of the tour guides who works at the information desk, told me the real payoff of the theme building is a restaurant called the Theme Room. Now, to get to the theme room, you go by elevator up to level 3. Now, the theme room has been a hot spot since it first opened for business back in 1961. In fact, today it looks almost exactly like it did back in 1961. The whole restaurant surrounded by huge windows that give you a spectacular view of the airport.
I like the restaurant quite a bit. I feel like I'm in a flying saucer. It's kind of perched up on these legs and very unusual structure.
It looks sort of like a control tower, you know, like...
It's rather odd. It doesn't look like your typical restaurant or your typical building at an airport.
Oh, I love it. We've been coming here for probably 10, 12 years.
Really?
Yes.
99% of the people want a window, of course. So when they come in and we don't have a table available, I give them a card. I said, you call us next time you're coming in and we'll have a table for you. That makes them happy.
And who wouldn't be happy, perched up inside a flying saucer, having lunch and looking out huge wraparound windows at jetliners landing and taking off? And to be honest with you, we could have stayed much longer. But this was just the first stop on our adventure, and it was time to be moving on. The theme building at LAX, an architectural gem created in the 60s and still futuristic today. A big white space-age beacon that for natives and for newcomers and for travelers just passing through says in its own very proud way, welcome to LA. Oh, the college tradition. And at UCLA, that tradition is alive and well. In fact, when you're on the old part of the campus, you can feel it in the air. Now, I was there at the invitation of university officials who wanted to show me the very first building constructed on their Westwood campus back in the 1920s. Well, I arrived a few minutes early and nosed around the part of the campus where I'd heard all the early buildings were located. And after looking at all the cornerstones, I pretty much had narrowed it down to either Haynes Hall or Kinsey Hall or Royce Hall or the Powell Library, all of which were constructed in 1928-29. Then I met up with Duke Oakley, the campus architect who had invited me there in the first place. He proceeded to take me in a direction away from these four famous old buildings to a spot where there wasn't a building at all. I didn't know what to think.
Duke, I hate to say it, but this doesn't look like a building to me. It looks like a sidewalk.
Huell, it is a building. It is a bridge that spans an arroyo that is 40 feet deep in its natural state and about 300 feet long. And although people usually think of the original buildings at UCLA as those behind us, Royce Hall, Powell Library, etc., the four Romanesque buildings, this bridge was the first structure built, and it was built so that trucks and material could get over there across the arroyo and build the original buildings.
Now, this bridge was more than just a bridge. I mean, it was quite beautiful.
It was quite beautiful. It was built in the Romanesque style so that underneath here are arches that support it, making it look not unlike an aqueduct. You can see the paving on it is certainly...
This is all the original...
This is all original. What is here now, a seating area for students as they walk about the campus, was actually the guardrail so that you didn't tumble down the 40 feet or so to the bottom of the arroyo.
But these are the original guardrails.
That's correct.
All of this is original.
That's correct. That cast stone and brick was the first structure built at UCLA.
Now, the bridge was built in 1924.
27.
27. The buildings back here were built in 29.
Right.
And this bridge stood here for how many years?
Well, of course, it is still standing.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
But it appeared to be a bridge from when it was built in 1927 until certainly 1947, when the arroyo that it spans was filled in segments. Mm-hmm. And that was started in 1946. It was not completed in filling in the whole arroyo as we moved towards the south until about 1949.
So actually, all of this was filled in. Is the bridge, literally the whole bridge, still here and just underneath us we can't see it?
Absolutely correct. And not only that, but it is still structurally acting like a bridge. That is, the fill around it does not support the bridge. The columns and spans of the bridge are still supporting the roadway and the sidewalk and all the rest.
So right over here, this is the... I mean, if we could go straight down now,
you'd go...
We'd go 40 feet down.
At least 40 feet down.
And be looking up at a huge Romanesque bridge.
Correct. Absolutely.
Did they save it on purpose when they filled it in? I mean, they didn't do any damage to the bridge when they filled it in?
I would say, although I certainly wasn't here making the decisions at the time, two things. One, everybody liked the bridge, and so therefore encapsulating it was appealing from what I've read, and besides, there was no need to do anything but fill around it. And so through both affection for the structure and economics were in harmony at this point, and they just did an encapsulating job. People can go through their whole college experience here at UCLA and never realize that this is not just a roadway and a sidewalk, but actually a separate structure.
Morning. What do you think about this bridge?
What bridge?
The bridge that we're on right now.
Oh, I didn't even think it was a bridge.
Now, do you all realize that you're seated right on the edge?
Of what?
Of the bridge.
No, absolutely not.
This is a bridge.
This is a bridge?
Yeah.
This is a
We're
bridge?
standing on it right here.
What does it go over? I didn't know. I mean, is this a bridge?
Not only is it a bridge, but there's a little noticed stairway that goes down underneath the bridge. Vice Chancellor Svenson and Chris Clark from the Facilities Management Department took me down there and gave me the $5 tour.
There's some old wooden steps here, so watch yourself.
Wow. So we are literally right now underneath the original bridge.
Yeah, when you bring people down here for the first time, they're pretty surprised at how big it is.
Or that it's here at all.
Yeah.
Now what's down here?
Well, there's not a whole lot right now. There's a lot of support equipment. We have emergency generators here. Obviously some pipes, electrical conduit. We've been putting in a new fiber optic system, real state-of-the-art, and that runs along the wall. There's not really too much that goes on down here. Once a month they take a walking tour, replace the light bulbs, and unless something goes wrong or they're adding some new equipment, they don't get too much action down here.
Well, I appreciated the tour, but Chris was right. There wasn't much going on down there. So it was time to go topside again and visit with a former UCLA student who remembered the bridge when it was visible for all to see.
And so there was a lot of student traffic that walked along the bridge, but it was the main thoroughfare for automobiles to serve the university campus.
So anybody who was a student here in the 30s, 40s, knew this bridge.
Oh, yes, they did. Yeah, and it was known as the bridge. It was known as the bridge, and after the area was filled in, it was hard to explain to people when they'd say, well, I'll meet you at the bridge, or I'll meet you, they say, well, where's the flagpole? Well, the flagpole's at the east, at the west end of the bridge.
Well, that's the way you tell an old-timer, is if they recognize, if they know the name of the bridge.
That's right. And other people would say, what are you talking about? What bridge? I don't see any bridge, and I've had people walking around here, and they'd say, what are you talking about the bridge? I said, oh, yeah, that's right. They filled that gully in.
Funny, isn't it, that this bridge that was such a campus landmark for so many years is now virtually unknown. Today's students sit on it and drive on it and bike on it and skateboard on it and walk on it, and most of them don't even know it's a bridge. But it is still a bridge. Its sides have just been covered up. And most importantly, it still holds the distinction of being the very first building on the UCLA campus. The next stop on our LA adventure takes us downtown, which has developed quite a skyline over the past couple of years. For example, up through the early 1960s, City Hall was the tallest building downtown. Well, these days, good old City Hall stands in the shadows of huge skyscrapers, including the tallest building west of the Mississippi. But our destination is in a much smaller building downtown, a place which was doing a thriving business long before City Hall was even built. Located right in the heart of downtown LA, this place has been around since 1917. It was full of customers back when it opened 70 years ago, and it's still full of customers today. Now, this market is overflowing with every conceivable type of food product, but that's just the half of it, because when you come here, you're going to be mingling with people from all over the world. There's an excitement, an energy here. And shopping in this truly grand market?
I think it's exciting. It's very exciting. It's an adventure. Simple as that.
It's like a carnival here. A flea market that sells produce and fruit and all kinds of things.
It's an antique place.
Antique place? What do you mean by that?
Well, it's what I said. It's been here for years. I've been coming here 41 years.
Beverly Hills don't know what they're losing out on.
The Grand Center Market is usually the first place that people from a foreign country will stop to buy food. Whether they're Chinese or Korean or Latin American or European, this is home to them.
I come from South America, and this is the way we shop over there. So it makes me feel like I'm home.
What do you think about this place?
Beautiful. The meat section, they have a lot of good meats up here, and right there where the fish is right there. Usually I come on there and buy a lot of fish. It's on sale, you know, the buffalo and catfish, things like that.
So you're a meat and fish man.
Yeah.
You don't fool it with the pastries or any of that stuff.
No, I'm exclusively a meat person.
Oh, look, you've got a cactus leaf here. I don't know whether that, do you eat that?
Of course you do, that's why it's
He was
here.
just explaining to me what you do is this, and it's very nutritious once you complete it. I'm from New Jersey, so this is sort of, you know.
Now, what are you selling here today?
Beans and rice.
Beans and rice, and it looks like a little bit of everything else.
Chiles secos. Eh?
Now, you specialize in chilies. Have you got a real hot chili for
Yes,
me?
we've got a chili, a whole chili, the Japanese chili here, chili arbol, and we got the ground chilies over
Let's
here.
look at the ground chili. This looks real hot.
It is very hot. This is the hottest chili you can get. Arbol, ground chili.
Most of the people come in here, and every day they learn more about produce, you know, fruit. You know, some people, they don't know what the mango look like. Look. This.
Uh-huh. It's a
This
mango.
is mango. They're confused with another fruit. They call it papaya. We have a papaya, you know? So the people that started to say, what is this? Papaya. What is this? Mango. You know, that's...
Well, what is this?
It's a dried chili from Mexico.
Now, it seemed like every time we turned a corner, we found something new and wonderful in this place. For example, we found a juice bar selling all kinds of exotic concoctions, from a huge old chrome juice machine that looked like it'd been there from day one.
Customers, when they usually come in for the first time, they start with number 7 and they go down the line to about 26. Then
you mean they work their way through?
They do, believe me, they do. And then they find out actually when they drink all those combinations, they find out, hey, I need something tart, something sweeter, something less sweeter, or something with carrot or whatever. They start mixing it up. And then they find the right combination, then they start drinking that every single day.
It's pink.
7 different fruit juices.
Uh-huh. So you always get the special when you come by?
Yes.
Well, here, take a sip and tell me what it's like. Describe it for us. Tell us what it feels.
It's delicious.
Carrot flip.
A carrot flip.
Yeah. Carrot juice, ice cream, and banana. It's good.
From carrot flips to huge fish heads. From pig's feet to hot chilies. From sausages to fresh vegetables. You want it, they got it at Grand Central Market. Now here's a lady who's buying, what are you buying?
Garlic, 5 pounds of garlic.
5 pounds of garlic? What are you going to do with 5 pounds of garlic?
Well, Filipino use a lot of garlic.
What have you got here?
I got tomatoes, bananas, strawberries,
mangoes, and now what are you getting?
bananas and chiles verdes.
So you're a good customer. They like you down here.
Oh yeah, because it's very cheap.
We got some of them who come in just like, every Saturday or every Sunday. You'd be surprised. And some of them have kids, and you see the kids grow up, and they're coming down now.
It's downtown, it's exciting, it's romantic, it's glamorous. I mean, there's no place like this. Where else can you go find sawdust on the floor and a ceiling that little pieces of it fall on you? It's great.
You like it?
Yeah. Well, it's just nice to come here. There's always a lot of people here, and it's real busy. Make you feel like you're in with the in crowd.
Oh, in with the in crowd.
Make you feel like you're really into something.
You know, to be honest with you, I've never really gotten into shopping for groceries. But when you shop at the Grand Central Market, you are getting into something. It's more like a life experience than a shopping trip, with these wonderful exotic foods and a cross-section of people from all over the world. It's interesting and colorful and alive, and it's a 75-year-old LA tradition still going strong, right in the middle of downtown. It was the 1880s, and what we're looking at is a drawing of downtown LA, a large portion of which was planted in citrus groves. Now we're in the 1990s, And little Tokyo stands on the very spot where these citrus groves once stood over 100 years ago. The citrus trees are all gone. But wait, that's not true. And I know that because for the last stop on our adventure, we were invited to the plaza of the Japanese American Cultural Community Center to watch the harvesting of grapefruit off the last remaining grapefruit tree from that original 100-year-old grove. This last remaining tree is standing only because the Southern California Gardeners Association carefully moved it here to the plaza from another part of Little Tokyo back in 1980, when a planned construction project would have bulldozed it down.
How has the tree stood up?
It's amazingly well, because we had assumed that a citrus tree of this age could not be moved and survive. But with the tender care of the gardeners and the tender care of everyone else that comes around, it's amazing.
Well, it's a little gnarly down on the bottom, but the grapefruits are hanging up there.
That's right. And the gnarls, I think, represent history.
Ah. Boy, they're hard.
Now, the harvest itself went pretty smoothly. In fact, it turned out to be a lot of fun, with Tim Yasumasu of the Gardeners Federation climbing up into the tree and pitching the huge grapefruits down to us.
So here we are with the harvest. There were more up there than we thought there were, weren't there?
Yes, I should say.
Now, what do you do with these things every year?
We eat them, and Tim takes it back to the gardeners, and they eat them.
So everybody they're all eaten up?
Oh, sure. Oh,
but
yes.
you told me there's a little different taste to these grapefruit.
Yes, I think they're a little more tart than the grapefruit of today's generation.
Why do you think that?
Well, eat it and see.
Okay.
Here we go. What did you say, tart?
Well, this is why the sugar was invented for me.
You knew it was going to taste like that, didn't you?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so they pulled a fast one on me. It was sour, all right, but it was also the most historic grapefruit I've ever eaten.
Why is it so important to save this particular tree?
Because of the history. I think it means a lot to us that the Japanese have been here for over 100 years, and it's a symbol for us that we are deep-rooted and will continue to prosper here.
You know, the overwhelming thing about Los Angeles is the size of this place. This place is so big, there is so much to see and do, that obviously we've just scratched the surface. But we have had a good time, we've met a lot of nice people, and we've visited some LA landmarks. Places like this wonderful fountain down here on the Music Center Plaza. In fact, during the summer months, you can come down here and watch people walking through these fountains to cool off. Well, it's not hot enough for me to do that, but I would like to thank everybody for watching this program and invite you all to tune in again next time as we continue our statewide search for California's gold. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.